It's the Brad and John Show.
The Brad and John Show. Today's date is October 31st, Halloween. It is the B Block. And by the way, just really quickly, John, do you have trick or treat duties tonight with your kids?
I will be out doing. Halloween is an all-day thing. There's school parades. I don't know if you're hip to school parades. Do you know that schools do parades now for Halloween?
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah, it probably started when your kids were in school. Yeah, so Halloween is, let's just say, an all-day thing for me, yes.
Okay, so that's what John's doing. I have no plans whatsoever except, well, I got a couple meetings I got to go to today. Okay, it's the B Block, and that means it's time for
Brad's Top 3.
I forgot to let John,
I can get it the second time, right?
Okay, get it, John. Come on, do it.
It's time for Brad's Top 3.
A little bit late there. Okay, we'll start off with number 3.
It's number 3.
It is. John, what's one of my sayings that you say I say too many times?
Once again.
Here we go again. Here we go again.
Here we go again. That's salt and pepper.
Ameren, your buddy, your lobbyist buddies are probably...
My mythical Ameren lobbyist friend, yes.
Are all a Twitter about this because of the fact that they've now decided they're going to build a natural gas plant down in Jefferson County. And guess what? The natives are restless, John. Why would that be?
Oh, no. Where's the story brought to us from, Brett?
This is St. Louis Public Radio, okay? Why would the natives be restless? It's natural gas. It's clean. You know, with Leclerc gas commercials, you still say, it's clean natural gas. Remember those? And, it's for drying your clothes. It's for, warming your house. It's clean. The guy used to say, clean natural gas. Remember that? I remember those commercials.
Yeah, Leclerc gas. You're exactly right, Brett. And this story is brought to us today by Kate Grumke. You might want to point that out.
Right. I don't get it. I mean, we're not.
You don't get the opposition, you mean?
No, I don't. See, this is like, okay, if they're going to build a nuclear plant, I might say they got some issues. They're going to build a coal-fired plant, but they're not going to do that anymore. But if they were going to build a coal-fired plant, I could say, they may have some issues. This is a stupid natural gas plant. I don't... and the whole thing is, well, they're complaining, because if you build it, they'll build a data center near it. So,
yeah, see, Brad, that's the tricky part. I was going to ask if maybe the Gates of the world or the Googles or the Facebooks are involved. I bet there's a data center involved.
Here we go again. It's the same stupid thing. Everybody wants their computers to have fast internet. They want to have fast internet in their phones and things like that. But yet they don't want to have the data centers which will provide them fast internet. You know what I'm saying, John?
I don't know. I want 17G service, but I don't want any telephone towers.
Yeah, that's my famous thing of the lady I knew who went around the country scouting cell sites, and she's got the county council meeting. I told you this before, didn't I? She's at a city council meeting, and she's trying to get a new cell site approved, and she's getting just pummeled, and the mayor specifically is just lighting her up. We don't want that cell tower. And in the middle of the meeting, the mayor's cell phone rings, and it's her daughter. And she says, in the middle of the meeting, she says, I have to take this call. This is important. This is my daughter. So she takes the call, and it wasn't important. So she hangs up. And the lady who I was dealing with, who was the cell phone scout, says, ma'am, is your cell phone important to you? Oh, yeah, because my kid's got to stay in touch with him. Well, that's why we need another tower, so all the cell phones will work. Well, we don't want it here. You know what I mean? It's that kind of stuff. Okay, we're ready for number 2?
Yeah, let's do it, Brad.
It's time for Brad's number 2. It's time for Brad's number 2.
Now, what you're going to say is this is an STL double play, STLPR double play. And this article caught my attention about Kelli Dunaway. Do you remember Kelli Dunaway when she was on the St. Louis County Council? Remember her?
I do, Brad. And this is brought to us by which intrepid reporter at St. Louis Public Radio brought us the story?
Maya Norfleet and Jason Rosenbaum.
Yeah, it wasn't Maya, I'm sure, sat there and maybe pushed a button or two, but the interview was conducted by Jason Rosenbaum.
Okay. Can I tell you an interesting story?
Please do.
I have not talked to this person in years, and her and I were friends back maybe 20 years ago. And I won't give her specific position, but all I can say was she was a statewide official. She worked for the state of Missouri, and she was a statewide official. I'm not going to say what she did. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I got to know her fairly well, and she confided in me one day that she was a Wiccan. Are you familiar with what the
Oh, wow. Okay.
She was
and
a-
is that the same as being a witch, or is it just someone that believes in witchcraft?
Well, Wiccan is sort of like, as religions go, like you're Catholic, you're a Protestant. It's sort of that. If you're a witch, but you're a Wiccan, which is this particular, flavor of witchcraft or stuff like that. And what's interesting about this was she wouldn't ever tell anybody about this because she was afraid that in the state of Missouri, if there were a state official who was a Wiccan, it would the Bill Eigels of the world would, oh my God,
Well, not just the Bill Eigels of the world, but I think a lot of reasonable people would do a double take. I mean, they might not discriminate against her. Bren, when you read the story, did you notice Kelli saying anything about, the patriarchy?
Yes, but here, let me tell you this. If Adam Schnelting would have been in office when my friend was in office, it would have scared him so much he would have never gone over 30 miles an hour in the left lane on I-70 because he would go, oh, my God, I can't. It's a witch. There's a witch that works for the state of Missouri.
I doubt that. Let me interrupt, Brad. I doubt that. I think actually Senator Schnelting would have passed a bill that said if you're on your broom, you have to be going at least 10 miles over the speed limit.
Now, I'm going to get into something here. And once again, this is maybe PG-13, so if you got kids in their car. The interesting part of this was that this lady I knew was single. She'd been divorced, and she told me that one of the interesting things that a lot of her Wiccan friends discussed was if they were single and they were in the dating pool, once it came out that they were Wiccan, most guys couldn't get far enough away quick enough, if you know what I'm saying. Now, the interesting part of this is she tells me that the part that the guys don't understand is that the part of Wiccanism, I guess you call it Wiccanism, is the fact that you worship the body and you enjoy as much sex as you can get. And the guys were like, but they never quite learned that part of the equation of the Wiccans.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. Now, Brent, that's curious. Excuse me. I mean, that's curious. But I would think, too, that if you're someone who believes in this, like let's say, oh, my gosh, I discovered one day I'm a witch or I've had previous lives or something. It's a screening mechanism. And you probably do it a little bit for shock and awe. And then, again, it's like anything else. Women who look for strong men want a screening mechanism. So they may make up something like, oh, my gosh, I'm a witch, or I'm a fearful attachment style. They say crazy stuff thinking that it's going to cull men from their environment. And then only the men who aren't fazed by it get to pass that next gate and then hopefully get to the most important gate. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Here, I just looked it up real quick. The official name of the religion is called Wicca, and if you are a follower of Wicca, you are a Wiccan. Wicca draws upon ancient pagan and 20th century Hermetic motifs for theological and ritual purposes. And it talks about it was started in England, and I do remember her telling the fact that they had pilgrimages to England, and she would fly to England with a bunch of her Wiccan friends and stuff like that. And the interesting thing for me is, see, I'm a guy that I find all religions fascinating. When you get to the point where, like when I got to be very close to my best friend, years ago at the old KSLQ, Jeff Andrew was Jewish. I went, several times with him to a synagogue. Isn't that what they call it? It's a temple, synagogue, whatever it is.
It is, yeah.
And really found it fascinating, the various views and things like that. Obviously, me being a North County boy like you, what was your story? You were the only non-Catholic on your block, wasn't it?
Yeah, we were the only Protestant family on the block.
Right. So obviously, if you're a North County guy, you got Catholicism, in your face every single day because every one of your neighbors and practically 2/3 of the kids in your classes were Catholics. But anyway, it's just sort of interesting. So the Kelli Dunaway thing I thought was sort of interesting because do you think she would have come out as a witch when she was on the county council? That's my question, John.
We know that answer, Brad.
Yes. No way, Jose, right? And by the way.
Yeah. And so, but the other thing is, and I will share, I won't say who this was from, but yesterday someone contacted me about this story. And I'll just say it was a gentleman. That's all I'll say. And I'm biased toward Kelli Dunaway. I have met her in person a few times. And then someone I know is close with her. So I'm biased toward Kelli here. But here's what I said to the gentleman who texted me. I said, Kelli seems like the type of person that needed to get out of politics ASAP. In other words, Brad, from what I know, on all accounts, Kelli is a really good person. She was trapped. I shouldn't use the word trapped. That suggests she didn't have a choice. She was enmeshed in this world of petty St. Louis County politics where the people who claim to be your friends are probably looking for a way to shiv you in the back when you're not looking. Kelli seems like a wonderful person. And personally, when I heard that she was leaving, I was happy for her. And in the text that I said to this gentleman, I said, reminds me of a Mary Elizabeth Coleman in that way. Two people that are kind of polar opposites politically, but two quality people that don't need to be brought down by petty partisan politics. Kelli is going to have a wonderful life post-politics. And if it means being a witch or it means being whatever it's going to be, like, good for Kelli.
But, John, here's the interesting thing for me. In today's environment, if you come out of the closet and you announce that you're gay, people, oh, my God, he's so brave, or she's so brave that she's come out as a lesbian. But if you come out as a witch, oh, mother, she's terrible. We don't want anything to do with her. You know what I'm saying? It's to the point
I don't know, Brad. All I know is at about 11:59 tonight, I'm going to have a minute left to burn you at the stake. And I get a discount on the deal, too, because most of the time you get a guy with a prostate. And I'm like, look, we don't even need the prostate or the gallbladder. In fact, I'll take the one with the bum hip and the wonky eye.
Ah, man, I tell you what. You know, you're talking about burning at the stake. That's the way my mom used to cook. She used to burn the steaks, but that's a whole other story.
Oh, Brad. Okay. I want to hear story number 2.
Oh, that was number 2.
Oh, number 1 then, Brad.
You sound like me now. Okay, here we go.
And now, big finish, Brad's number.
John's going to be saying Brad must be spending too much time on stlouispublicradio.org, STOPR.org.
Oh, no, Brad. What'd you see?
But it's a triple play St. Louis Public Radio. Top 3 this morning. The city has announced they have spent, are you ready for this, John?
Oh, man. What is it?
$4 million of Rams money for tornado recovery.
They blew through that entire, Brad, pardon the expression. I hope the kids aren't listening. But they blew their wad, right? They blew their money wad, right?
Well, I think they still have about $250 million in the bank, and they've spent $4 million, which is like what what is that? Like that's like 4% or something like that. Isn't it like 4%?
Yeah, a pittance.
Yes. Why wouldn't they be spending tons of that money on, helping the people that got their homes destroyed? And the interesting part of this, did you see that recently where they say that more than half of the homes that were destroyed by the tornado were vacant? Did you see that?
Yeah, and so that's going to be, I just remember the headline, that's going to be a big hindrance to cleaning them up, because if nobody owns them, what's the incentive to take care of them?
Well, or not only that, I mean, once again, it could be that obviously if they're vacant, they probably haven't been paid taxes for long, and the city probably technically owns them through the tax lien process and stuff like that. I mean, who do it? But, the crazy thing about this is, think about this. What we need to do is we need to get Mr. McEagle. You know who Mr. McEagle is, don't you?
Oh, it's Paul McKee, right?
Yes, Paul McKee. That was his company. We need to get him to buy up more property in North City, because that's what he did. And, and poor Paul McKee, they're trying to eminent domain his property away from him because of the fact that, and that is sort of sad. Did you see that gas station they built it's closed down now? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't. Where is it?
Oh, well, in this whole area where they've got the NGA and the whole bit. He bought up all that property. That was the whole deal. He bought up all the houses. See,
yeah.
This is another perfect example of why I miss the Riverfront Times. I do not remember which reporter was covering this, but when nobody knew who was buying up all this property in North City, do you remember this whole crazy story? Do you remember this, how this whole thing happened?
Yeah, I do remember this. Maybe it was Chad Garrison. It was one of the really good reporters there.
Yes, and he was digging through all these real estate records that somebody and was buying up all these parcels of property, all these houses in North City, but nobody knew who it was. And it reminds me of a story that I will briefly tell you about Walt Disney. Walt Disney was upset about what happened to him at Disneyland. When he built Disneyland, he literally built it in the middle of nowhere. It's hard to imagine if you've ever been to Disneyland, you'd go like, how is that in the middle of nowhere? Well, back in the day when he opened in 1955, literally, I think they actually tore down some orange art. Is it Orange Farm, or would be is that
an orchard, maybe?
An orchard, yes. Orange orchard, yes. He tore down some orange orchards to build part of the park, and his distaste or his displeasure was that he bought the property, and then immediately after things started going well at Disneyland, it looked like it was going to really catch on. All the developers bought up the property around him and put up like not so nice hotels and crappy little strip centers and things like that. And he didn't like that. So what he did was, when they decided to go into Florida, he formed all these crazy weird corporations. I think at one point in time there were like 40 or 50 different corporations, and they had stealth real estate agents who were hired by Disney and went into Florida and started buying up all these parcels of land, and to the point where they were going to buy up enough land where they're going to be able to build the core parks, Magic Kingdom and Epcot and stuff like that, and then have a huge buffer zone around it so nobody would be able to come in. But that's what they did. They hired all these real estate agents, and they swarmed to secrecy, and they went in and they bought all these pieces of property stealth, just like McKee did. And then when it finally comes out, see, the Riverfront Times finally broke that story. God, I miss the Riverfront Times. And John is always right about things. And John says,
I was just going to tee it up, Brandon. I'm going to cut you off because you mentioned it already once this week. I said about a year ago that the Riverfront Times would be back. Don't worry. It'll be back online. And Brad, I was incorrect.
Yeah, it's dead. And did you say you can't even go into the archives anymore? It's all gone now?
Well, here's my other point, Brad. While you were jibber-jabbering about Paul McKee and somehow got onto Walt Disney and orange orchards, I looked up the 2007 story from the Riverfront Times, and I clicked on it because there was a link from St. Louis Magazine to the story. And now I get a message that says, the page you were looking for is no longer available. Check out one of our latest stories. Brad, underneath it, the suggested story is 10 best big, I'll use the word mammaries, 10 best big mammaries OnlyFans, best busty OnlyFans in 2025. Right next to it, it wants me to click on top 10 best Scottish OnlyFans creators, and, not to be outdone, top 10 Swedish OnlyFans stars sharing content in 2025. So we can't read about Paul McKee, but we could do a little bit of, can we use like a marine reference? We could do some motorboating.
John, what's sad about this is, think about this for a minute, all the work that those reporters put in for decades at the Riverfront Times, all that great investigative journalism they did, and it's gone. It's just gone.
And Brad, if I could interrupt one more time and point out something that I mentioned 2 days ago, which is I salvaged one of the most iconic political profiles of the modern era, the 2002 profile of Democrat powerhouse Joyce Aboussie. And folks can find that by going to johncombest.com. Brad, do you know that literally, no version of that article existed online because the RFT archives are gone? Your old pal John Combest, he put it up there. And Brad, yesterday, I want to share this. Someone, I won't read it verbatim because I don't have it at my fingertips, but someone who is involved at high levels, let's just say, in Missouri government and politics, sent me a note that said, thanks for putting that Joyce Aboussie profile on the website. I hadn't read it before and always enjoy those snapshots into the past on power brokers in their prime. If you post more content like that, I'll be reading it. John, and then we exchanged other messages here. But Brad, you're right. If no one goes in and saves it, now I had to meticulously update page by page that profile, but if nobody else does it, it's going to be lost forever.
Well, and think about how the digital age, that's sort of interesting, the whole digital age is, think about it like and I don't mean to sound morbid or anything like that, but I'm a photographer buff, and probably on several hard drives I've got here at the station, I probably have literally 250,000 pictures that I've taken. I'm not exaggerating when I say that. I probably have 250,000 pictures. And I die, and nobody knows where those hard drives are. They're all gone. And there's a lot of historic stuff I've done on that. Like, I've got all my Ferguson stuff on there. I mean, I probably have 8,000 to 9,000 pictures and videos from my Ferguson days, and then the day which was, I showed somebody some pictures the other day of the Trump rally in 2016 down at the Kiel Opera House, and the person I showed it was like blown away about the crowd. If you remember that, I talked about this. The crowd went, around in the building. The line to get in went down Market Street, then it went south on Tucker, and then when it went west on 14th, west on Clark, right in front of the old police department there, then it went all the way up to Union Station, and then it came back on 18th Street and came back on Market. It's like a mile and a half of people trying to get into the place, and I kept telling everybody back then, I go, man, this guy's going to win the election. People are going like, oh, no, there's no way Trump's going to win. There's no, I'm telling you, it's the groundswell. You're not seeing it on TV because they don't want Trump to win. You know, the Democrats that control the media, they don't want Trump to win. But when you see this in person, it's like, holy cow, look at these people show up for this guy. You know what I'm saying?
Brad, the next time that you come back from one of your gallbladder appointments, can you just put some instructions like to me and your kids? Because Lord knows your kids aren't going to want that stuff. But I just want to know where that stuff is, like after you croak, right?
My kids have nothing to do with me or what I do, which is kind of sad.
That's not true. Now, they may not want to have anything to do with the radio station posthumously, but it is incorrect to say they want nothing to do with you. You call them on the air, Brad. We hear you talk to them.
Well, the only time they call me is when their car's broke, but that's a whole other story. Okay.
Yeah, hey, I heard I could get a great deal down at Pick and Pull. Can you come down here with me?
Yeah, let's go down to Adelaide and Hall Street and watch them build that new battery plant. Oh, yeah. They're not going to build it. That's right.
We might as well just dump the money in an old car instead of a battery plant.
Right. Okay, we're going to take a break.